find the minimum of C of x over x. Okay, so what is our first step when we are asked to find the minimum? It's okay if you're wrong. Let's have a discussion. Don't be shy. It's fine. So when we're asked to find a max or a min of a function, what will be our first step?
Find the derivative.
Awesome. Who was that? Tyler? Thank you. So C of x over x prime. I have it here. I simplified as much as I could. Remember, we are not simplifying x with x. We have three terms here. One. See, I don't have my props ready. Okay, here's 2. And where's my other eraser? I have no idea. It's gone. Okay, never mind. So, oh, I have a flash drive. Okay, so we have 3 quantities over x. I have to write the first quantity over x and simplify. I have to write the second quantity over x and simplify. And I have to write the third quantity over x. And this cannot be simplified. Good, so I have the function ready and I want to differentiate. So the first piece prime is 0.2. The second piece prime is 0. How do we differentiate 1 over x? Because that is 3500 stays outside. 1 over x. And we said, let's carve this one in stone because it's really important. What did we say 1 over x was? Prime, of course. Anyone remembers 1 over x prime? Anyone? So no one remembers 1 over x prime. I refuse to believe that.
Is
negative.
Negative. Oh, go ahead, Tyler. Oh, okay. Negative 1 over x squared.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you very much, Manny and Tyler. Good. So now, remember, we have to find the least common denominator. Well, there is only one denominator. And I have to multiply this by x squared because it has 1 in the denominator. So I have 0.2 x squared. Don't forget minus 3500. Okay, I have the derivative. What will be my next step towards finding the maximum or minimum? We'll verify what it is. What will be my next step?
Set that to 0.
Awesome. Also, I should determine the domain, but you know, I can't have 0 units. I can't manufacture 0 units. I don't have a production, right? So x cannot be 0. So in my second step, indeed, we will have C of x over x prime set equal to 0. When is a fraction 0?
When the numerator is 0.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kimmy. 0.2 x squared minus 3500 equals 0. Let's analyze this first. Okay, what type of equation is it? Because if you say linear, then we find one solution. If you say quadratic, we have to find 2 solutions, and so on and so forth.
It's a quad equation.
Quadratic. So I'm expecting 2 solutions because it's quadratic. Excellent. Good. I will move, because there is no middle term, I will move 3500, divide by 0.2, and apply the square root. And I have to have 2 solutions. Okay. So then x squared equals 3500 divided by 0.2. Here's how I do this. I multiply top and bottom by 10 to eliminate the decimal number. 35000 divided by 2. And now this is easy. So I have x squared equals, what is it? So it's 1, and it's 7, and it's 5, and 2 zeros. And now I take the square root. And I have to obtain 2 solutions. So I have positive the square root of this and negative the square root of that. I'm going to determine in a minute. So now you can say, okay, you found two solutions, but this is negative. You can manufacture a negative number of units, whatever. Of course, I will cross it out. This is algebraically correct, but not in the context of the problem. No way I can have a negative. So I'm going to share my screen. Where are you guys? Okay, I see you now. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to take the square root of 17500. Okay, so 132.29. 132.29. So then, the next step, x, c of x over x prime. Of course, 0 to infinity. Well, not infinity, you know what I mean. So 132.29, and this is 0 here. They're also asking us to find this, which is the value of the function, the average value, the function, the value of the average cost when this is the number of units produced. But I have to study the sign. And I saw in many cases in your work, and I'm just going to use a pencil so I can erase it quickly. I saw positive, 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 relative min. But how is it possible? If there is no sign change, then this cannot be a relative min or a relative max. So you cannot put plus plus or minus minus and say this is a relative something. So please remember that. If there is no sign change, the critical number does not change or does not become a max or a min. Okay, so let's look at now the denominator. The denominator does not give the sign, it's always positive. So let me plug in 0 here. Okay, it's negative. That's all I need. Let me plug in here 200. 200 squared times 0.2 will overcome this. So this will be positive. I know now that this must be a relative min. No question. This is a critical number initially. I showed the sign of the derivative. And the other thing I saw, and I begged you, I saw positive, positive, or negative here. We're not studying the sign of the function. Who cares? We're not interested in studying the sign of the function. So please don't put the sign for the function. There is no need. Okay, next. I have to plug this in the function to determine the number because we are asked to do so. Okay, so in this function, I have to plug in 132.29. So I'm going to share my screen and clear everything, and I'm going to put 0.2x. And then plus, you don't have to do this because it's only one value. It's my habit and I prefer to see the function to make sure that I entered it correctly. I make mistakes too. So, and now I plug in 132.29. Okay. And this is in thousands. 177,915. So I'm going to copy it here. 177,915. And this is done. And I showed why I know that this is a relative min. You don't know if this is a relative min. You have no idea till you study the sign of the derivative. Now, if it's reversed, it will be a relative max. We know that. Before we continue and I ask you if you have any questions, I was very pleased to see that many of you determined or looked at these are the solutions from last homework. I was very pleased to see this table in many of your work. Thank you so much. I was happy to see this. Some of you did not identify the fact that this was a minimum or a maximum, but you are on the right track. You're using the table. You wrote the correct sign. You wrote the inflection point. I was super pleased to see. This problem, again, this is a little bit more complicated with the algebra, but many of you determined it correctly, and I was very pleased to see that. Thank you. Any questions on this problem? Okay, I had that handy so I can praise you for your work. Okay, the next section is exactly the same thing with this one, 3.4, more applications again. So this is 3.5, more applications. More word problems, more maximizing, minimizing. And let's look on page 329. So let me stop for a second. Any questions for me? Anyone? Anything? Please remember to stop me anytime. Anything? Any questions? Is anyone there? Anyone?
Yes.
Thank you. I know you are, but I didn't hear anything, so I wasn't sure. Okay, so I'd like to start with something like, I can open the book, or I can just show here something like, you know, the revenue is given, the cost is given, they're asking us something about profit, something again about maximizing profit. We can look at something with maximizing volume, surface area, if that's what you want. So let's look at a couple of problems and move on. No inventory costs and anything like that. Those are specific for economics. So when you take those classes, they will teach you. So here we're just going to just general ideas. Any preference? You want to start with maximizing profit? Okay, so let's. Yes. Okay. 1 second. I need to plug in my laptop. Okay, it's plugged in now. Good. So let's start with 31, because I would like to assign 32. So you have a similar example. Maximizing profit, 31, again on page 329. Riverside Appliances is marketing a new convection oven. It determines that in order to sell X ovens, units, the price per unit is lowercase p 280 minus 0.4x. So this is price per unit. It also determines that the total cost is given by C of X 5,000 plus 0.6x squared. They're asking us to find the total revenue. Any suggestions on how to find the total revenue? Don't be shy, it's okay. What is the formula, the general formula for the revenue?
Won't you put P equals 280 minus 0.4x, or I guess P equals C of X, or?
So the revenue, that's why we need to talk, right? It's very important. So the revenue is the number of units, so revenue. Let's say I'm selling birthday cards. So at a price per unit. So it's the price per unit times the number of units I sell. So this is the price per unit, X is number of units, so this must be P, the price per unit times the number of units. That's my revenue, not profit yet. I don't know if we get to the profit, if they want profit. Yes, they do want profit at some point in time. So for the revenue, it's only the price per unit times the number of units. So I will replace P by 280 minus 0.4x and then multiply by X. So that's our revenue. Is this okay, everyone? So X times 280 minus 0.4x. I will distribute and arrange in the correct order. 0.4x squared plus 280x. Any questions on this? There is no calculus here yet. Any questions, please? Okay, I don't hear any questions, so I will move on. Part B, find the total profit. Now, perfect. So this is the revenue. So I'm selling whatever at this cost, at this price. So this is my revenue, but my profit will be revenue minus the total cost. And careful, this negative has to be distributed here to both terms. Sometimes I see students forgetting to distribute to the second one. So this is the revenue that I already have right here, negative 0.4x squared plus 280x, but minus, you either put parentheses or you distribute to both terms, 0.6x squared and minus 5,000. So now this minus this is just simply negative x squared plus 280x and minus 5,000. So this was the total profit, revenue minus cost. So we calculated and we have this function. Part C, how many convection ovens must be produced and sold in order to maximize profit? So they're asking us to find X that maximizes profit. How do I do that? What is the first step?